This is the latest addition to the Dawner Prince fleet. It's the Eclipsa, and it's the new must-have for Gilmour tone chasers. It's a rotary speaker emulator, but unlike their previous version, the Pulse, which as the name suggests was based on the kind of pulse sounds, it was actually based on the Maestro Rover RA200, which they used on the Division Bell, which is a single rotating speaker. Then they built custom cabs to scale it up for the Pulse tour. This is based instead on the legendary RA200 by Yamaha, which Gilmour used Think Animals, The Wall, and in a lot of his later stuff. And I'll be honest, this is my new favourite pedal. The RA200 had 3 rotating speakers above a static 4x12 cab, and you can blend between the mix here using this blend. It's not a wet dry mix, it's a blend between the static speaker and the rotating speakers. You've also got your inertia, your distance, how close you want the pedal mic'd, and you've got the slow speed and the high speed adjustment here. And it's a solid, really well built pedal, handcrafted in Croatia. And the bottom section here is a clone of the legendary Alembic preamp that Gilmour used. So you're basically getting 2 good pedals in one. And I think if you hold in this on switch, you can bypass the rotary and just use the preamp if you want. So let's get into the nitty gritty here, and I'll show you how I've been running this. I run it at the very end of my signal chain, and it has a mono input and stereo outputs. And that gives you the really wide stereo 3D sounding effect. It's amazing. So I'm running a wet, dry, wet setup here. Our dry tone gets sent to this amp in the centre, and our wet tone, our chorus, flangers, delays, and of course the rotary gets sent to these 2 wet amps either side of it. I split the signal in 2 after the compressor using this orange amp detonator. So this is very much a work in progress, that's why it's a bit of a mess. So the guitar comes in the tuner, and then into the Kali 76 compressor, which then goes into the amp detonator to split the signal into 2. The first comes out into the high power, which is 2 pedals in one. This side we have the high watt amp, this side we have a colour sound power boost. So we get into the colour sound power boost side first, and then come out of there into the Past Effects Revolution, the Buffalo TDX, into the Big Muff, which then goes into the GE7 EQ, and then returns back to the high watt side of the high power, before then coming out and into the Fender Hot Rod. And that's all our dirt, all our gain coming into this 1 amp on its own. The second out from the amp detonator comes into the Past Effects Elastic Mattress, which is obviously a clone of the Electric Mistress, into our chorus, into our flight time delay, into a carbon copy delay. This is a digital delay, this is analog, it's slightly darker, moodier. And then eventually into our new Eclipsa, which splits again into stereo. So one goes to the amp on the left, and the other goes to this amp on the right. And as I said, it's very much a work in progress. So I'm working with basically what I've got just now. I don't have a stand for this mic, so that's just dangling there. But each each amp has its own mic, and they run out into this mixer here. So once we've dialed in the levels out of the volume on the amps the best we can, we bring it into the mixer, and here we have a bit more fine adjustment. So if we want to hear more of the gain amp, we can adjust this. We've got the stereos panned left and right, and if we want to bring in more of them, if we want to hear more of the Dopplers or the delays or the chorus, we can bring in a bit more here. It's just a bit more fine tuning before I run it out to my DAW, which is Cubase. So right now all we have on is the compressor, the high power, the carbon copy. I'll turn the rotary off, and if you listen, and with the rotary on, you can see you get that nice stereo spread shimmer. And if we put it onto the slow speed, you can kind of get your division bell. So that was the Dawner Prince Eclipsa, and it is a pedal that the Gilmour tone-chasing guitar community has been craving for a long, long time, and I'm so glad I was able to get my hands on one. Is it a real Yamaha RA200? Of course not, but it's as close as we can get, especially in here. It's going to be a long time before that's removed from my pedal board.